Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're going to be replacing a battery on an electric start Toro Timemaster. So the current battery in here has lasted almost, maybe just a little over 6 full mowing seasons. No problems, but it's time for it to be replaced out for a new one. The tools that you're going to need for this project are going to be pretty simple. First, it starts with a 3/8 shallow socket. Probably 1/4 inch drive will work ideal. You don't want anything that's too big. A couple screws, you need the smaller diameter of the 1/4 inch socket. A 6-inch extension to get around some of the obstructions that are going to be in your way, and then a 1/4 inch ratchet. Now in my opinion, I think a roto head ratchet like this is ideal because you can turn it vertical to work it sort of like a ratcheting screwdriver and go sideways to have the length of the handle for a ratchet. And then the other bit you're going to need is going to be some electrical tape to seal off the terminals to prevent them from being shorted together, a pair of scissors to cut the electrical tape, and perhaps to cut away the existing tape that is in place to keep the terminals from being shorted together. Pretty simple, basic set of tools, and you'll need about maybe 10-15 minutes of your time at most. The only part you're going to need for this is going to be a replacement battery. This is a 12-volt, 3.5 amp hour battery. The one that comes stock on the factory is 12 volts, 3 amps. They're all about the same. There's a couple different vendors you can get these from, and they're all the same whether it's 3 or 3.5 amp hours. The dimensions on this battery, it's about 5 1/4 inches long, about 2 1/4 inches high, and just a little over 2.5 inches deep. And so very simple, just one battery is all we need. You may also want to pick up some self-adhesive felt pads, which will be obvious a little bit later in the video why you may want that, but you also may not need that depending upon how skillfully you can transfer a battery mat from your old battery to a new battery, or whether or not you want to do that. It's entirely up to you, but you might want to pick that up as well on the side because that'll provide some vibration reduction between the mower and the battery to help to extend the life of your battery. So now let's go over the mower and get started. So then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my flap, and then I'm going to remove my recycling plug, take that out, set that aside. And then now the first pair of screws I'm going to remove are going to be right down here, one on either side. This is where you're going to really need that extension to be able to do this just a few little quick turns, and that screw will come out. So ultimately you will have 5 screws to keep track of. And in some cases you may not even really need to take it out. They may stay in this housing. There we go, we got those. And then now on the front side, I'm already missing the bolt that's behind the muffler. That's already been removed. So I got one over here by the edge of the chute. This is the pathway that grass follows as it exits the cutting deck. Or at least it would if you're bagging. And now we have one more bolt, and this is probably the trickiest one. This is right back by the fuse. And then if you notice, before we go too much farther, now that that's loosened up, we've got our handlebar adjustment lever that locks in and goes through here. That's actually going to be coming out as part of this process. So we're going to have to fold the handle all the way forward just to make it the easiest as possible on us. And then with a little bit of playing, we should be able to wiggle that out just like that. And then now over here, we can see is our battery. So there's a little cap on top here, has a little breathing vent there. We'll set that aside. And this battery just simply sets right in here. There is some tape on the top of the terminals just to help secure the leads down. These are color coded. So you can see right here, we can just go ahead and pop off the negative. And then pop off the positive. And here's the battery. At the bottom of the battery, there's this felt pad that I'm going to try my best to preserve. This helps to minimize the vibration getting into the battery from the mower to help protect the life of the battery. You can perhaps tell how sticky this is and messy. We'll try to preserve that as best as possible. Got that off in 2 pieces. We'll set this battery aside for recycling. And then we'll clean up the mess back here. So now you can see where I've cleaned up this area here. So the next thing we need to do is to take my new battery and then apply the adhesive mat that I peeled off the old battery and put that onto the new battery, unless you got the replacement furniture pad. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and stick this on the bottom. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is not a beauty pageant by any means. This is just intended to reduce the vibration going from the mower to the battery. It is a little greasy, but that's fine. I'm fine with that. You're not going to see this here. And then I'm going to go ahead and set this down into the little 4 corners there. I'll remove my protective terminal caps, and then I'll go ahead and wire up the battery. These connectors should just push right on. Just like that. You might want to push them down just a little bit. And I'm going to come back over it with some electrical tape. And I'm going to put a little electrical tape over these, especially over the back side, because you can see there's still a little bit of an exposed terminal on the back side there. I'll probably use a couple pieces of electrical tape here, just like it was when it came off the old one. I'm going to use some brand new tape. Don't try to reuse the old electrical tape. That just won't go well for you. There we go. That should be more than sufficient. Then now we've got the battery cover to put back on. And then now we have to put the rest of the housing back on. I probably should clean out my chute here just a little bit more. And then now we will put the rear housing back on. Watch out for the cables. Make sure you pay attention to the cables on the left side of the mower, or the fuel cap side of the mower. There's your fuse down there. So make sure you don't get that crushed. And then it all should lock down, especially whenever you get your blue lever to slide right down. And it's a matter of just tightening up those screws and you should be good to go. On the other side of the mower, make sure you watch out to make sure that the upper housing goes underneath this front housing. You could remove it if you wanted to, but it's not necessary. And double check that your cable coming out of here goes through this little loop, this little cutout here for it. And then you should be good to go to screw everything else down. Make sure you put all 5 screws back in. You got the 2 on the top, the 2 in the front, and then the extra one right there. I don't have that one. I've not actually kept that one in. And you're good to go. So this repair, you're in and out in 10 minutes or less. It's just a couple simple tools, a little electrical tape, and that's it. Any questions or comments, put it down below in the comments section. I've got a whole playlist of other Toro Timemaster repair videos. If you're interested in that, check that out. Like this content, give it a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day. Bye.